Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.
Hi, I'm Adam Heath Avitable.
And I'm Sarah.
This is Dating Kinda Sucks, a podcast about dating, sex, and relationships. This week, we'll be talking about the importance of good sex in your life. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode about sex.
I know, yes. we haven't done one in a little while, so I think it's a good time to talk about it. Someone what?
Someone actually DM'd me on Instagram because I was like, I always drink, or I somehow manage to drink every time we talk about sex. And he goes, isn't that like every episode? Which, okay, fair.
So they just assume that you're always drunk, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking? I see you actually have like a piece of lime in there.
Oh, I got a gin and tonic. You know me. Just that's pretty much all I do is gin and tonic.
Since you started dating, now your drinking levels even elevated. It used to be like you were just popping a Truly.
That is so true. Oh my God, yes.
Or drinking just wine, but now you actually have like a slice of lime in your drink. Like that is yeah. That's gonna be all thanks to Master and None. That has nothing to do with you.
Don't give him so much credit, okay? Because even though he's upped my culinary game, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, he has.
He literally fucking eats. He did this last night. I have a photo too. Maybe I should post it on our Instagram at Dating Kinda Sucks. He ate chips and salsa in a bowl and ate it like cereal.
Like with a spoon?
Yes, like with a spoon.
Okay. All right.
And I just looked at it, was like, the guy who eats all of these fancy meals and cooks all of these cool things, this is what you're going to use. Like, shut the fuck up.
I've done that with chips and dip when the dip, or when the chips were no longer like big full chips. They were all like the pieces. I've just like dumped it in the bowl and just ate it with a spoon like cereal. So I can appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Great.
It makes me like him even more.
Good.
So what else has been going on? You guys, he's been staying over.
Yeah.
I think multiple nights, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think that has been a really big changing point or a shift in our relationship is since he's been spending the night. It just feels more normal and it feels good, and I've just been happier. And we're actually taking a trip to the Smoky Mountains next Sunday, so a week from now.
Ooh.
I know, and so we have and it's his birthday too, so we have a hot tub at the cabin that we're renting, and we're gonna go hiking, and obviously we're gonna
birthday and going to a hot tub. You know what that means? Yeast infection. No, it means hot tub sex.
Hot tub sex, but also I don't really know what to get him for his birthday. So what do you get guys for holidays? Because I have no fucking clue.
I am terrible to buy for because I buy what I want and I don't like receiving gifts. It's just one of those things that I don't enjoy. So I would like, even for my parents back when I used to exchange gifts with them for the holidays and everything, I would make like Amazon wish lists of things that I purposely would not buy just so that they would have something.
Oh God, I feel like that's so him though.
Yeah. So I mean, I would suggest something that he enjoys, something small. He doesn't need anything big. He knows that, but maybe there's something that you guys go on a lot of walks and you enjoy hiking. Maybe something related to hiking. Maybe something related to I know he likes things like denim and everything. So maybe something related to denim.
If I buy denim, I'll get the wrong thing and he won't be happy about it, and he'll be like, "Oh, this is great." So I don't want to fuck that up.
You don't have to get him denim, but get him maybe something related to it. Maybe there's something that I don't know. Maybe there's an exclusive Jeans of the Month club or something that you could sign him up for. You never know. And he likes to cook, so maybe something something that like actually is related to cooking. And
I was just gonna buy a nice bottle of champagne or something like that and pop it in the hot tub and do something cute like that. Oh, is that not cute?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a birthday gift. It's just, I don't know.
I just don't know what else to do.
It reminds me of just, my ex-wife, and she was just a terrible gift giver. And
well, that's me. Fuck.
Yeah. I know how many times I've told the story just about
Yeah,
her
you
putting
have.
the giant box on the on top of the TV that I couldn't open until Valentine's Day, and I was so excited because I knew she finally got the DVD player when DVD players came into fashion, and she had all the individual DVDs wrapped and everything, and then I opened them all, and no, it was a fucking vacuum cleaner and all the vacuum cleaner bags and accessories that she wrapped separately because she thought the joy was opening things, not getting a good gift.
God, the vacuum thing gets me every time.
I
Oh
know,
God.
I know. It was yeah. So don't do that. You
Not gonna
know,
get him a vacuum.
yeah,
Noted.
but something that
Cool.
he would enjoy. I mean, like he plays video games, so maybe you could actually
I
care
don't
enough to
know what
find out.
fucking
Well, that's
game.
what I'm saying. Maybe you
Oh
could
my
care enough to
God, but
find
I
out
can't keep
more.
prying. Like I'm running out of time. I have less than a week now. I've kind of
Amazon
procrastinated.
has 2-day delivery for whatever you need.
Ah, fuck.
Maybe
Fine.
there's a new controller that he would really like. Maybe there's something like I don't know. Does he play on his console or does he play on PC?
PC.
Well,
He just like upped his keyboard and everything. I just don't know. I'm
see, so
just so.
maybe just like a gift card to somewhere that would that where he can upgrade to something or buy a new game. It could always be nice to. I don't know. Does he watch video game players play? Do you know?
I don't think
On
so.
Twitch? No.
No.
Okay. Because you could get him like a Twitch subscription or something like that. Yeah. So there's plenty of good gifts. You just have to put some fucking effort into it.
I was trying. Okay, I don't know. I was thinking more. I'm more of an experience gift giver. In the past, when I was in a relationship with other
Sure.
people, I would buy 2 tickets to this concert that we both like the artist, or to the theme parks, or some like restaurant outing event, or I don't know, something like that that I felt would be not just fun for my partner at the time, but also for myself too, and for us to enjoy together. So
Right.
to just wrap that, and I think that's why, well, Christmas without events going on too is challenging because I'm like, what do I get him? Like fucking jacket, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm less into the materialistic items. It's more in
Yeah.
the experience. I'm more in the experience side.
Experiences are important. I mean, yes, they're absolutely important, but just something that shows like something that's not a token, but something that shows that you listen to what he likes, and that's the important type of gift giving. We should do a whole episode on how to give gifts. I think. I feel like
Well,
this might be a future episode.
well, I tried. Okay, so he's been trying to up his skincare. Well, I've been trying to up his skincare routine. Let me correct myself.
Oh God.
The eye roll, but because he was only really using sunscreen and didn't really wash his face or have a moisturizer, so I took it upon myself to buy a couple things and wrap it and give it to him. And the look on his face when he came in and saw that I had this little baggie with stuff, he was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" So I was like, "Oh, maybe I just am very hesitant now to give a gift because that was a couple weeks ago." And he was
That's
thankful
kind of
for
funny
it and
though.
everything, but I don't.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I don't like those kinds of surprises." So yeah.
Well, there's a thing called I used to do a thing called a Birchbox, which was a
Oh
men's
yeah.
care box I mean, they had women's one too, but like, for the men's, they had some really good stuff. Like and then I would test a product and then I would like it enough to go buy it later on. So, and then there was, moisturizing and all types of lotions and facial cleansing and everything. So, yeah, I don't know. Something like that could be good. But there's plenty of ideas. There's plenty of ideas. We're definitely gonna have to do an episode on how to buy gifts, I think.
Oh no, I just suck at this. And I like to think like I could give gifts, but I know that I suck at it. So in my mind I think, "Oh, I'm so good at this," but I don't think I am. So
Gifts have always been so important to me. Like giving gifts, good gifts. I don't know why. It's just something that I've always wanted to make sure that I do right.
mhm.
And so I when I owned a business in Los Angeles, I would talk to my employees, and everything, and I would go out and I would actually buy gifts for my employees that like for Christmas for every single one got a personal gift. Just something that I
Damn.
knew like was something into that they liked or something, just kind of in tune to it and with them. And it was something that was really, it was important to me for me to do. And I liked it. I liked them being like, wow, you actually listened when I said I liked this author or I liked, this thing. And so that was always nice to me. So, but giving gifts is more of my love language than receiving them. So that's something I try to put a lot of effort into.
Hmm. Well, I'll be thinking on what I can get Master of None, but
Okay.
whatever. To be
We'll see.
continued. We'll see how that goes.
All right, hold on a second. My microphone volume keeps climbing up as I'm recording because I noticed it started spiking. Yeah, like I set it at something, and then it like climbed back up to 96 again. Why is it doing this automatically? Is there like an automatic volume thing?
Are you recording it differently?
No, just using Audacity. I'm gonna bring it back down to like 75, which is what it was at. Okay.
We're gonna have to do this throughout the whole episode now.
I mean, I might just keep an eye on it, but okay, now it's not moving up at all. But yeah, it just started. Now it's moving up again. I don't know if it's just because it's too quiet, so now it's trying to keep it normalized. Do I have it set to some type of normalizing thing? That's really weird. I don't know what to do. I guess maybe I'll just leave the recording volume up at its at what it sets at.
What's the thing that shows that it's so high? Is it the microphone thing itself?
Yeah, that keeps showing it at like 0.93 or whatever is where it keeps climbing to on Audacity. And that's when like every now and then I'll see it spike when I say something a little loud, and then I'm like, why is it climbing back up? And I can't tell. But I don't want you to have to keep adjusting volume while we're editing either, because
Yeah,
if
that's
I keep
gonna
it going
really piss
quiet,
me
then it
off.
keeps going. So maybe I'll just stay back a little bit and I'll just keep it at this level, and we'll hope that works then.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, I just want to let you know what I've been trying to fuck with
Before I
there.
call you and hate you. Yes.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay.
um,
Gift giving.
well, that's where, yeah. You need to maybe transition into something because you said we'll see where it happens, and then you could maybe ask about what my dating life has been like.
So, okay, hang on. Let me think about this. It's so hard when it's not organic.
Oh, well, I know.
Well, we'll see how my gift giving goes. But how is your dating experiences going? I think where we last left off, you were going to go to karaoke with somebody. And I think seeing on what you posted on our Instagram, you went to karaoke with somebody else. I think you've been doing a lot of karaoke. That's all I can remember. We don't really talk
I
off
know
air
it's
about your dating experiences, so I really don't know what's going on.
it has been a couple of weeks because and you and I don't talk about it much because during the weekends is when I stop hearing from you. That's when I know when Master of None is
Yep,
staying
that's
over.
true.
He's like going to be over your house from like Friday to Sunday, and I was like, oh, I won't hear from Sarah for 2 straight days. Last we spoke, had I gone out with anybody? I think so.
I think you did,
I
yes.
think I met somebody at iBar, and we talked about that. I'm pretty
You also went
sure.
to Ale
I
House
went to Ale
and
House,
had a date with someone.
had a date, and yeah, and then I told you she's very blunt, and she said she was starting her period and didn't want to keep talking.
Right, yes.
And then she's kind of gotten quiet on text. So have I. I mean, I can't really complain about it. Like I haven't really texted her as much either. We went back and forth, and then just sometimes conversations just die down. And I don't think it means lack of interest. It just means you just get busy doing other shit. So I'll touch base with her later. But since then, I have had a couple other dates. I did not. I went to karaoke that night after we were finished recording, but the person I was supposed to go with, her car had issues and she had to cancel. So I just went anyways and had a good time. And one person I matched with on Hinge, and Hinge has been pretty good so far for me.
Still, okay, cool.
Still, was someone who, as we're chatting and as we're just talking normally about things, she says, "Hey, is this podcast you're with? Like, is it with someone named Sarah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I used to teach her in high school." And so I found out that this was your color guard coach when you were in high school.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so then I knew I had to go out with her, even if there was like and nothing. We still had to go out. So we went out and went to Ale House and met up there. And that was, yeah, wow, that was 2 weeks ago. It has been, I don't know, it feels like it's just been forever. But had a good time. Really had a great conversation. She's really fun to talk to. She gave me all this dirt on you as a high
What
schooler.
kind of fucking dirt? Like I was a goody two shoes. I don't feel like that's new news for
No,
anyone.
it's no new news, but it was still kind of funny to hear. Just like, yeah, she was such a good, like, just like you were such a good
Now
little
I'm shitty and terrible.
innocent
Yeah.
rule follower. And she's like, she tried to listen to the podcast, but it's hard for her because she's like, I just can't think of my Sarah talking about sucking dick, and everything. And I was like, well, she does, and she's apparently very good at it. So,
Apparently. Yeah, whatever. Reviews.
But we talked for a while and just had a enjoyable time, and it was really good. There was no I think we both agreed after the next day that like there wasn't a potential for us. It was her life's very different than mine. As I've always said, just my life makes it very hard
I
for
should
me
have told
to
you that you
well,
guys were not gonna match or vibe well.
well, that's
You had to
okay.
do it just because she knew me, is pretty much.
No, I also enjoyed talking to her. Like, so, like, it would have been, it was nice to meet her and actually talk to her. So, but
Okay.
yeah, she just, she has a kid and a young child. So trying to like handle a lifestyle with a young child is always difficult, and without like anyone else supporting. So it's not like she has every other weekend free or anything. So it's just always a thing. But it was nice. She enjoyed having adult conversation, I think, because she hadn't between teaching and being home with her kid that she didn't really have much like one-on-one adult interaction, so that was fun. And at one point towards the end of the night our conversation kind of turned to just like sex. We started talking about
Okay.
like just casual sex and things like that, and how I just started telling her that I was really getting like to the point that I didn't have any real interest in casual sex, that it's a lot of work and it's almost too much effort. I just because I am the type of person when if I'm going to have sex with somebody, I want to try to put the effort in. I want to try to make sure that it's just as fun as it is for them as it is for me. And for me, it's really easy for me to have fun with it. I mean, literally, like, we've talked about this, and give me a minute and a half, and I'm all set.
Right. Yeah.
So like there's the enjoyment of the intimacy with the person, but like all the effort going into making sure that they're also going to enjoy their time means that casual sex has just it has almost more pressure than non-casual sex, I think.
Really? You think?
Because I wouldn't want to
I
just be
thought
like,
casual sex would be okay. Well, I don't really care about. Well, and for a lot of guys, not
right,
saying they actually think this way, but okay, I'm just gonna get off, and sucks if she doesn't, but I'll try my best, kind of.
yeah, and
And then
I'm
they
like,
come, and then eh.
I just can't do that. It just doesn't really, it doesn't. Then I'm like, well, I feel like just like I just let someone down, and so what's the point? And it just I don't know. I feel like if somebody has to go through the pain and suffering of seeing me naked, then
Oh God,
then I feel like they should at least get off of from it. Like then at least I want them to enjoy it. So
damn. Okay,
I have
called
to have the
yourself out on
I
that.
have to have positive reinforcement in there too. And so we talked about that for a bit, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I can just jerk off. Like, I don't like, that's just easier for me. I'd rather have, maybe the intimacy I miss, just kind of cuddling with somebody. But I can cuddle with any, I have friends I could just like, let's watch a movie, and we just like snuggle and watch a movie. And at one point, and I don't want to like imply that she wanted to like she was willing to have sex that night. I don't want to say that because I could be completely off base. But at one point, she just said she was like, so you're telling me that if I would just like to say to you, if like I as a just a human being said to you as a human being, hey, we could totally have sex. I'm not going to get emotionally attached. I just want to have that experience, just to like be with somebody, have someone, have some fun with someone for a little bit, and nothing tied to it, no strings attached to it, and just get that intimacy and that experience. You would say no, and I said no. Well, I said yes, that is correct. I would say no.
Do you think that's an age thing now? I don't think you would have said that 10 years ago.
No, I would not have said that 10 years ago. I was in the middle of my trampage, and so I
Right.
was, I was fucking anything with a pulse that wanted to fuck me. So yeah, that's definitely not the case. But yeah, I think it is an age thing. It's now that I'm just like, it's all so much work. And also, she's my age. She's a little bit older, and I think that's part of it. But I'm sure for women as they get older, I think they get a little bit, maybe their sex drive increases.
And yours is failing.
By not failing, just maybe flat, maybe maybe just flatlining a little bit, just being like, yeah, just diving down. But it was funny, and, like, she didn't. I don't know that she meant anything. Like, I think it could have just been a hypothetical that she was just asking me. But either way, I was just like, yeah, I really don't want to put the work into it. I don't know.
Shit,
Like
is
if
this
I'm,
what I have to deal with when I get older? Because right now it's just actually my sex drive's really high right now, but I just
yeah,
all
maybe.
I don't know. Is that a thing where guys just over time they just want to have sex less? And I know that is like our hormones are just at different crossroads where guys
Right.
peak super early in like high school and girls don't really get it until later in life. But I don't know. I just forget about the curse of getting older with things like that.
I'm not sure if part of this is also related to just the current situation. There's just a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of like, it's
That's
just
fair.
it's a just a tumultuous time, and I don't know. Yeah, like if someone was like, "Hey, I want to come over and just cuddle and watch a movie," I'd probably be like down with that. But like actually having sex, I'd just be like,
Would you
okay."
initiate like fingering her or anything, or you would just strictly cuddle?
I mean, I would imagine that during the cuddling, there probably would start to be, the things have the tendency to happen.
So
But
if she would have approached it with two consensual adults just wanting to cuddle, you probably would have said
I
yes.
might have been more willing to say yes to
Oh
that.
my
I
gosh.
don't know. I
And
know.
then you guys might have just had sex anyways.
It might have, I know. But
Wow.
just the idea of approaching it so mercenary as just being sex was just kind of like, it's just not really something that I want to do right now. I don't know. I know. But if it happened organically, that's a different situation. So, but yeah, so that was one date, and like I said, it was very fun. We decided we had a great time talking to her, and like I had a great time talking to her, and just spending time chatting with her, and we had some good conversation and everything, and yeah, and our lives are very different, and so that was very obvious.
I
So
could have told you that one when you
I
told me you
know,
were going out with her, but
I know.
hey, you had fun, I guess,
Yeah, it
and
was still fun.
yeah,
It was
good.
still very fun. And weirdly, so this happened after she left. So she left. I stayed at Ale House because she had to go home. It was only like 9:30 on
Oh yeah, and you stayed out till 2, so of course you
yeah, it
stayed.
was like a
Yeah.
Friday night or something, I think. Was it Friday? Yeah, it was a Friday night. So it was like 9:30, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go home at 9:30. And I'm sitting there, and this woman sits next to me at Ale House. I'm sitting at the bar, and then she's looking for a lighter, and the guy next to me is smoking. So I grab his lighter and I give it to her, and then she just starts chatting, and she has just had the worst night of her life. She's like just telling me her whole life story, and how like this guy that she thought was an amazing man who like moved in with her and like and has just been like
Uh,
great for her and her kids and everything like that. That the day before he had asked to borrow the car to go to the store, and still has not come home.
what?
Yeah, over 24 hours later, had not come home,
Is
and
he missing or is he
finally
cheating?
replied to her at like 5 p.m. that night on that Friday night and said, "I'm sorry, I had some things come up. I'll be home soon." And then this was at 10 o'clock at night that she comes out because he still wasn't home 5 hours later. And she doesn't know what he's doing. And I was like, you need to call the cops. Like, you need to call the cops and report him as having stolen your car.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous that that just the
She
whole
doesn't want
fucking
to do
thing.
that because she likes him and
Yeah,
she's
but
not
just
going
the
to
fact that
report it
he Oh,
stolen.
I know. But just the fact that he did that, that he was not like that he ignored her. And I just don't understand like that mentality. So she was just really down, and she's like, and I don't even have the money to really go out, but she's like, I needed to get out of the house because I was just anxious and freaking out. And so we just sat there, and she just kind of told me her whole story. I actually paid for her tab at the end of the
That
night
was my
because
next question.
yeah, I was just like, and I didn't tell her till like it was done because the ale house closes at midnight, and I was like, I'm gonna walk over to Friendly Confines, which is another bar that's open till 2. And she's like, oh, I'll walk over with you, and I was like, yeah, okay, come along. So it's a fun bar. But then she went to close out, and I was like, oh, it's already paid for, and it's like she actually started crying, and I was like, no, just like. Just want to pay it forward next time you're doing well and somebody near you needs something, just pay it forward. I was like, you had 2 drinks. It's not like the end of the world, like it feels like you're having a hard time, and like let somebody, some random stranger, just take care of things. So then I went and we sat at the bar at Friendly Confines, and she started to do a bunch of shots, and yeah, she was definitely like just really, she was mad. Like he called her at some point during the night and was yeah, it
Damn.
was, and I'm like, hey. I told her the name of the podcast. Like, you need to listen to this podcast. First of all, you need some advice. I said, and you need to get rid of this asshole. Like, you need to go home, pack his shit, put it on the front porch, set it on fire, and then record it, and then send it to them and say, and now I'm calling the cops, and I'm going to have you arrested for Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, that's what you need to do, because he has disrespected you in every aspect of the word.
If you're
And
taking shots over a guy, that needs to end. I think that's the sign.
Yeah.
It's like when you're crying and taking shots at a bar over a shitty guy, it's over.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was
In there, but
felt
yeah.
so bad for him. But yeah, this guy sounded like just an absolute scumbag. Such a scumbag. So that was just an interesting end of the night. Like just going from having a date to then hearing about this terrible like relationship this poor woman was in. So she was, but hopefully she figures her shit out.
No phone number exchange, no trying to be friends. It was Did she approached you about
Well, we were just kind of sitting there, and she was just like, she's like, she kind of said something like, she's like, "Fuck my life," and I was like, "What's going on?" And because I'm, just sitting there, and then she just started telling me like outpouring this thing, and I think I have a tendency to ask people, like people tell me their life stories all the time, so
This is true.
it's yeah, and I think I just kind of I welcome that a lot of times, and or people just feel safe telling me things. So I think we exchanged social media, and so yeah, she was very much about the podcast too. Like I told her that she should listen. So
All right, marketing when you're not even really
I
out
know,
trying to
not
do
even on
that.
purpose, just accidental. And then the second big thing was that I went on a date with somebody else. We matched on Hinge, and we went out to actually the first date was on Ale. Was at Ale House.
I would say switch it up, but I know you're not going to, so
Yeah,
keep going here.
it was a Monday afternoon. So she didn't work on Monday because it was Indigenous Peoples Day,
Right.
and fuck Columbus, and so she was already off work, and I of course can do whatever. So I met her up there around 2, and she golfs for fun, so she had a tea time at like 5, so she had to leave by like 4:30, so we had 2.5 hours. But I'll tell you what, it was such a fun time. And like I walk up, and as soon as I walk up, she was telling me that she was watching something. We were texting before, obviously, and the night before she was watching something, and Bly Manor, The Haunting of Bly Manor. And I walk up and say hi, give her a hug, sit down next to her, and I was like, "Did you finish Bly Manor?" She goes, "Well, yeah, but I just finished watching this Netflix documentary about Roe versus Wade, and it's something about what's going to happen with our current shit show of a political system." And so we start talking about abortion, and then that leads to a discussion about
On the first
politics.
date.
I mean,
On the first date.
within the first minute, to be honest.
God.
And then we start talking about like prostitution, because she said that like she had some person who was like, well, if you think women, should have complete control of their bodies, then I'm sure you support prostitution. And she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly that's 100%. Like, of course, like it should be decriminalized and destigmatized, yes, but why would you think that's your art? That's the shitty argument, So, and I was like, I agree with you. So then we started about that when a discussion of porn, and then talked about movies and TV, and so like the 2.5 hours went by like nothing. Like it was really we had a natural conversation that was an organic conversation for that entire time.
And time just flew by.
Yeah, it was really great. Just kind of
Good.
chatting about everything, and like I really liked engaging with her, and I think we got like we immediately felt like we were friends. Like immediately felt like, oh, we like, even though our text hadn't been that much, it'd been pretty minimal. And so then we scheduled a second date to actually do karaoke, because she's a big karaoke fan. So we went on Friday
Is she
to.
around your age too, or
Yeah, she
younger? Or
is. Yeah,
okay.
she's a couple years younger than me, like
Okay.
2 years, 3 years younger than me. And she's like works in like a 9 to 5 corporate trainer job. She has a house. She like has a whole, she's got the whole normal life
No
that people.
kids? Kids?
No kids, no kids.
Okay.
Um, and like her family. Oh, this is one hilarious aspect. Is at one point, I did that bacon photo shoot that
Right. Okay.
yeah, and I sent her the link on the Instagram, and she was laughing that I called my house the Avitable Camp for Wayward Women, because she had her house used to be called her last name's Camp for Wayward Girls, or no, Home for Wayward Girls, or something like that, because it was her and her sister living together, and so they just called it that because they were just like two sisters, kind of living together, and her sister's younger and a little bit of a party animal. And so that was like just this other weird thing. Like we had a lot of
What are
interesting
the
things.
odds that you
I
guys literally named your houses
I know.
such a similar name?
Yeah, I know it was fantastic, and it was a nice little like just so many like little synchronicities that I thought were really great. So she loves karaoke, so we went to karaoke, and had Big Daddy's on Friday, because she hadn't been to Big Daddy's in years because they used to allow smoking. Now they don't anymore. So she was like, "Oh, this is great. Let's go when there's no smoking." Like I like that. So she got there, met me there, and we put songs in, and we were talking about like the way you do karaoke is you're singing your song for the audience, like it's all about performing, and so
Absolutely.
and it was great because like she would get up there and she would try to get there was a bunch of like really drunk people in their early 20s just there that were like just sitting at one big table, and every time somebody had sang a song that they enjoyed, they would get up and like run to the front and dance. So that became a thing. Like like I went up and did Creep, Radiohead's Creep, and I also did I did Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball. And like when I got up there to sing and I started singing Wrecking
Oh
Ball,
my God, you fucking did
oh
not.
yeah,
Oh my.
there's a whole group of like the 20 somethings that came up and started like just like singing along with me. Like they fucking loved it. And so then the next song she did was Four Non Blondes, like What's Up, that do you know that song?
No, I do not. I knew Creep, but I did
Okay.
not. I don't know
Okay.
that one.
Anyways,
Okay.
it's like good ballad, and it's from a little earlier. But as soon as she started singing that, the same group came up and started dancing for her. So like we were both like just like performing for this like group of drunk people that was having a good time, and we're talking about that's the fun of karaoke. And she's a big people watcher, and so am I. So we were like making up stories about all the people around us, and like it was just overall like a really fun date. And we were there till almost close. I think almost till 2. And then I walked her to her car, and there were two of the people that were inside drunk were outside sitting by her car, like just drunkenly like having an argument or something. So it was a little awkward to walk her to her car because like
And
they
you're
were kind
trying
of
to get the moment in there.
exactly, and the moment
Damn.
was really happening. But I gave her a kiss when as she was getting to her car, and we texted to make sure she got home and all that. And then I took an Uber home and timed it. I ordered Uber Eats at the same time. So like as I pulled into my driveway, as the car dropped me off in the driveway,
You
Uber
would.
Eats was walking up with my McDonald's, which at 2 a.m. like a Big Mac and a McFlurry was just like a perfect meal. When you're drunk, it was pretty amazing. So, anyways, it was a great time, great date. We were texting back and forth, and I was like, would you like, where would you like to do for the third date? And she's like, I've been thinking about that, and she goes, I just think we're just so different. Like that we're very similar, but our lives are very different. And
What
I
about your
just,
lives are so different?
that's what I asked her too. And I said, just for my own like understanding. And she's like, well, I mean, you just have like a very like I have this kind of boring 9 to 5 life. I don't, I don't go out very often. I don't do things very often. Like I just, I want I want the house and the family and the settle down and all those things, and you like you create and you're like you're always making new things and you're doing photography and you're like you have like this giant beautiful rainbow beard and like you're just and so I don't want to say like she didn't say this, but like the what I almost felt was like she was almost like your life is like too cool or something like that, which mine isn't, but it gives off that impression sometimes that my life is like this crazy roller coaster when a lot of times it's just me sitting in my underwear at
You're so
home.
yeah, honestly, you don't do a lot of shit. Like yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
it
she
man,
she has her in her head, and I think that maybe she wants somebody who's going to be that kind of more traditional corporate 9 to 5 type person who's just maybe
looks good on
somebody.
paper.
Yeah, well, I think that, and not because I don't think she's shallow like that, but I do think that to a degree that's what she thinks about, and she thinks about how is it going to look for her, like her family, like what's her family going to think, and everything like that.
But is she
And
happy is the biggest question, not necessarily what it looks like to the outside world.
well, yeah, and that's true. That's up to her. I can't control that.
Right. I know. I
So
know.
she said she like she didn't feel necessarily the romantic chemistry, and I said, well, I also agree she's not my specific type. She's not my normal type, but we got along so well that I was like maybe there's that potential for that. We talked about that in our chemistry versus compatibility episode, where that like chemistry can also come from as you get to know somebody better, like you have that communication and everything. And I said that I kind of got the idea that we're both very open and honest people, very very blunt as well, and that we'd have good sexual chemistry as well potentially. But I think she just she wasn't feeling it, and the fact that she definitely 100% wants to have kids.
And you do not.
Well, it's not that I don't. It's just the idea of having kids is like right now, especially like I would want to bring kids into this world, but
Same.
not at this current point. But also this is almost I don't know, having kids with someone my age seems like a terrible idea. Like if I was dating someone who's 22 who wants to have kids, I could see that more than someone who's 40 and wants to have kids.
Mm.
Because at least with someone who's 22 who wants to have kids, when they're going to be young enough to be able to take care of them, but I don't want to be fucking 60 years old running around after kids.
That's true. Yeah.
And I don't want I don't want both of us to be 60 years old running around after kids. At least one of us should be young enough to handle it. So if I was, but
Hmm.
that's the only positive thing that I would think about with kids is that it'd have to be somebody. But I mean, good for her if that's what she wants, and she really like we really got along to this incredible level, and it was kind of a shame, but I can't really, obviously I can't control that. So
I I will say one thing when you made the comment about she's not your usual type.
yeah,
I don't think that fucking matters. Master of None isn't the normal guy that I would normally go after. I wouldn't even say go after on dating apps, but like he knows my past has been with mostly Asian men and he's not Asian and that,
right.
that's not I'm not against dating him, obviously, but I wouldn't let a type or whatever thoughts you have in your head about a look or whatever hold you back because it
Well, right,
works.
right, and I'm trying not to. That was part of it. That's why I'm trying to reach out to people closer to my age too as well, and date more with that in that group, rather than like and find people that I get along with and see if our personalities are a match. And she and I had a great personality match.
Hmm.
I think that yeah, the idea of just I think my lifestyle makes it hard for me to be somebody to date sometimes. I
I
really
think
do think
that's the
that.
criticism you get all the time is
Yeah,
that you're too out there and they're not in their
right.
minds.
And she would joke that she's kind of basic. So she joked that she's she's kind of a bit like she was drinking White Claws a lot and stuff like that, and she likes some of the shows she likes and stuff, and she said a little basic, but I think I found her to be interesting enough. But there are times on dating apps where I'll meet somebody, I'll match with somebody, and we'll chat, and they'll just be like, God, this person is just like they're so fucking boring. Like their life, what they consider to be like scandalous or exciting is just like that's a mundane aspect of my life, like like just like they, like
What would
the
be
thing.
scandalous in their mind?
Well, like
Cooking naked? I don't know. What?
doing a photo shoot like that covered in bacon, like that's just like
Yeah.
something that they consider. Oh my God, like what if your parents see it, and everything. I was like,
So,
my mother commented and said, my eyes, I can never see again. That's how my mother handled it, and so.
right.
I don't know. But she didn't seem to be that type where she's not fucking boring. Like she actually maybe just our personalities mesh on that level, but maybe she saw herself to that to a degree.
Maybe the kiss wasn't what she expected.
It was a very very minimal kiss just because there were
It was a
people like
little,
just what was that? Do that again.
oh, that's not, I don't know.
Right. No, it was just like a little kiss, and like I said, there would have been more probably if there hadn't been people standing there arguing behind us as we were like trying to get into her car.
Was the
So
vibe a makeout vibe though? Like between the two of you outside of those people
yeah, because
arguing?
like we hugged, and then like she went in for like a second hug, like that kind of
Okay. The
that's when I
second hug.
the second hug,
Oh.
yeah, that's when I kissed her. So. But there was no tongue or anything. That was just a very, very, very simple kiss because it was really legitimate. Like there were people 3.5 feet away from us, so like it wasn't like they were like far away, and it was awkward. And then
Yeah.
that was the downfall. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on right now. And now I don't know. I've got a bunch of matches. I have too many matches. It's all
You
overwhelming.
going out still? Are you gonna let
I
it
haven't
cool
s-
off? What
I
do
haven't
you
scheduled
doing?
anything, so I haven't scheduled anything new. But I probably will at some point. But I'm also half contemplating just being like, "Fuck it, I'm done for a while." I went on enough dates.
You feel pretty blah right now just talking about everything. You're like, well, whatever.
Oh yeah, and it's so much work too. It really is. So
You've been saying that since the dawn of time. It's too
that is
much
true.
work. Sex is
That
too
is.
much work. Dating is too much work. Coming
I'm
is too much
lazy.
work.
No, that's the easy part.
I knew you'd say that.
Well, speaking of coming, we should
Coming soon, the next part of the show.
exactly. We'll be back after the break.
So let me just tell you about some good dick sucking I gave the other day, since we didn't get into it earlier, and since this is a sex episode. So why the
Yeah,
fuck
absolutely. Let's hear about it from
you want
the
to hear
queen of
about what I
the,
did to that
the
dick?
queen of blowjobs.
I mean, one of my many skills. Gold stars all around for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a 5 out of 5 rating on this one. So we've been really trying to. I mean, we've already spicy sex life, if that's safe to say, with me getting tied up and using toys
sure.
and the BDSM and the sensory deprivation. Not that we've gotten caught in a rut by any means, but he's been staying over and we've just been having good regular vanilla sex. Not that it's bad or anything, but we were listening to another podcast about just kind of upping our sex game and different things we could do, and I was like, okay, so now it's been in my head of, okay, well, maybe I should tie him up and maybe I should do this and this. So when he came over last night, I was just in a vibe, and maybe it's because of the fall weather too, because that's always kind of been my thing is
God, I
get
remember you in the fall last year. Like you were just a fucking horn dog. It was crazy.
it's the same now. I don't know, when it's not as hot outside, temperatures drop, I am just so ready to rip my clothes off and fuck somebody. Um and I've been getting dressed up a little bit more in my fall attire too. So we went on a date and had a little bit more sexy date outing. But anyways, so he came over last night and lights were low, whatever. And I was like, you know what? When he comes in and we kind of get settled, I'm just gonna push him on the couch and I'm going to suck his dick. And god damn it, I think I did for 30 minutes. I had some music on in the background, sucked his dick for 30 minutes. I pulled in all the stops. I was using
30 minutes is that's
that's
quite
a
a
lot.
yeah, yeah.
It's a long little session there. But obviously, it was just there wasn't any rush to like, okay, I gotta jerk him off really fast so that he comes, so that he can care about me or whatever. Because I think in the past that was something that not I would aim to do, but that was kind of, it would take the guy 2 fucking minutes, and then it would be like, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
But this was like, I really enjoy making it all about him. So just doing all my little tricks and hands everywhere and mouth everywhere and spitting on the dick and sucking on the
Spit,
balls and
spitting on the dick and sucking on the balls. Sounds like a country song.
spitting on the dick and sucking on the balls. We're gonna suck some dick tonight.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna keep.
I know. This is Sarah with Gin and Tonic.
I can already think of the song. But anyways, so I think my approach to giving oral has changed a little bit too. I really want to focus on making sure he enjoys it, even if he doesn't actually come.
Right.
Um, just making sure he enjoys me taking care of him.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That's great. And I perfect topic way to start off our sex half of the episode.
yeah. Also, giving head for me is hella empowering. Of like, this is the dick that I'm about to own. Like, I am about to. I don't know. That I get into like this mental state of when I'm sucking dick.
I agree with that. I think that giving head in general to somebody, going down on somebody is people who don't like it, I don't understand. Like I just because it really is. It's a all right. You're gonna just lay back and let me
Take
do
it,
all the
daddy.
work and make just basically we're gonna get there. But I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do what it takes, and it has a very empowering feel to it.
Hmm.
And I think that I know that there's a lot of women that don't like men going down on them because of past issues. They've had probably shitty guys who have said something, or they've been made to feel self-conscious when they shouldn't. And also because the act of going down someone is so intimate, it is more intimate than sex sometimes. That they're a little shy about it, and I don't think they should be. I think they should. That's where you just embrace it. Just let it happen. Let it go, as
Let
Elsa
it go.
says.
Oh God, fucking that movie. Can we not?
Or, spit on the dick and suck on the balls.
Spitting on the dick and sucking on the balls. Now, anytime someone gives head, now they're gonna think. I'm probably gonna think about that the next time I
Oh
go
my
down
God.
on it. Like, let
Yeah.
me spit on that dick and suck on the balls. But
Yeah. The
use
spitting on the dick, like
use 2 hands, put your mouth over it. Just yeah,
2 hands too.
2 hands. Yeah.
That's impressive. Like 2 hands, that's well, okay. All right.
Like,
Well,
I mean,
we just
yeah.
learned something there. Then I guess. I mean,
I
that's.
didn't say who. I've used 2 hands. I
Oh
don't know.
right. Yeah.
I
You.
didn't
Yeah.
specify.
Who could you possibly be
I
talking
didn't
to?
specify. There are no didn't say a name there, but you could use 2 hands. You could use one. You could
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
use mouth.
Yeah. That's okay. All right. I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you, the one of the best blowjobs I ever got was from somebody who she like just did this thing where like she gripped it, like she after like
At
she
the
was like
base.
sucking my dick, yeah, and she just
Yeah.
kind of like but like held it kind of tight, like to not where it was like hurtful,
Mm.
but just to enough that it was like putting pressure, I think, on that nerve that goes up the shaft, and I didn't think I was going to come originally because it was, and then like just from her, the way she was holding it, she kind of had her thumb just kind of rubbing up and down.
Vein right there.
Yeah. And I
The
was just
other
like,
side of the dick. Yeah.
I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, like I think I'm about like and she just like almost started laughing because she knew that I wasn't expecting it and it really came out of nowhere. It was and it came out of nowhere. But it surprised me and it was like incredible. It was a good combination of blowjob and hand job. It's the only time that someone has used their hands to get me off that actually worked. It was the
Nice.
combination with the blowjob too.
Do you need to be in the mental state to actually get off with the hand job? Is that
I
like a mental thing to
I
actually
think
do
hand jobs are just about rhythm and grip, and it's hard to do that. And like I think the grip has to be the right for whatever each person. And each person has a different need, so it can be so difficult. I just think it's really hard to have a good hand job.
it? Mm.
So, because I mean, even if like you're jerking off yourself, like you can get bored or things are like whatever, you can edge for a while, so like you're used to, and that's just your own hand, so the like the how much pressure or little pressure to give, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. But anyways, that's our blowjob tutorial
Was
so
that even
far.
a tutorial? It was just like a quick little
I don't know. I mean,
recap of
there's
how
some
you can give
techniques. I
head. I
bet,
don't
I
know.
bet some men and ladies listening can pick up some tools that maybe they didn't think about before.
And I don't like fully. Oh, now I'm going into actual
Now
details of
let's
tips
hear it.
and tricks of how to give head. I don't deep throat the whole time. I get like, I really focus a lot on the head.
The head is the
Um,
most important part. Yeah.
yes. I focus on that and then I'll mix it up and then go deep for like 5 to 15. I actually sometimes I count just because I know how long it'll take me until I start to like
Right.
so I'm like I'm gonna hit my limit soon if I keep doing this and so I know my own limits there on when I'll gag or I'll hit that, but I mix it up a lot until I feel like he's hit a point where he's like, oh, that feels really good, and then I really focus on that because it's not the same every time.
Sure. Of course. Do you know what my biggest tip is when it comes to that?
Finger in the butt.
Well, that actually does help quite a bit, but no, it's to make sure you don't have any gum in your mouth.
Oh Jesus, you've shared that story before.
Have
Holy
have I shared the story? Or was that
yes,
only
you
on our
have shared
Patreon?
that story because I cannot get that story out of my head.
It was only on our Patreon. I thought I didn't know if I shared it with
Really?
the full
Really?
audience. I don't know. I don't remember if I did.
Recap us on your gum dick sucking story. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I went out with the trans girl, and then I kept the gum in the corner of my mouth, and then just because I was so used to always keeping gum in my mouth and didn't think about it, and we were both drunk, and ended up getting gum stuck all the way around, wrapped around every aspect of her junk, and had and stuck severely. It was like basically
How
just
do you just forget about that?
because
Did you
I
just
was used
hide
to
it on
just
the side? You're
yeah, I'm
like,
just
oh,
used
it'll
to
be cool.
tucking it in the corner of my mouth. It just was one of those things. And so had to like try to like peel the gum off, couldn't peel it. I was like pinching her by accident, trying to peel it. So then I had to basically
Motherfucker,
suck the
God.
gum off. And then, yeah, like piece by piece as it was like wrapped around. And then she told me later on that I managed to give her hickeys, and she'd never had that happen before, and I'd never even heard of that happening. So yeah, that was quite an experience, and I learned very carefully not to make sure you never have gum in your mouth when you
Mm.
go down on anybody.
So that will make for better sex. No gum.
No gum.
Nothing
Yeah,
else.
yeah. Just throw the gum away or swallow it. Don't tuck it in the back of your mouth because it'll come out the worst possible case. Just stuck everywhere, just wrapped completely around her dick. It was ridiculous. It was terrible. I felt so bad. It was I laughed, to be honest, because it was so ridiculous. Like it was
You
like
like pulled your mouth out, saw it, and was like,
I was
"What
like,
the
oh my
fuck?"
god, gum wrapped everywhere. It was like just a spider web just wrapped. Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking is
yeah.
spiderweb level dick or
And then this
gum
stuck so
over it.
much. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So there's that lesson. So we
So
should probably,
what
what?
I was gonna say, what do you think is the key to having good sex, or what have you learned from bad sex that you now know it was bad sex because you're having good sex?
I think that. I mean, I think that well, first of all, there is a huge difference between good and bad sex. Like having bad sex can turn you off of having sex with anybody
Mm-hmm.
and make you not want to have sex. Or having good sex makes you want to have more of it with even more people. Just like it makes you want to like experiment and try new things. So there's so many different factors. There are literally so many different factors that are important. I would say open communication is a huge thing. Like you want to be able to sit down and talk to somebody and say this, like just this is what I like, do this, don't do this, etc. You want to be able to communicate with them as you're having sex, which means the other person can't get defensive. And that goes for both people. Like you want to be able to listen and take instruction and be guided and don't think that you're better than the person. We've talked about this before.
Oh yeah, you can't take offense to anything. If what you're doing doesn't get them off, but that's what you've done in the past to get other people off, you go, okay, course correct, and I'm gonna do what they say works for them instead
Exactly.
of my ego
Exactly.
getting in the way. Because so much of this is tied up, unfortunately, in ego of going, well, I know I'm good at having sex, so it's how I do it, and it's how I'm gonna have sex with you. And it's like, well,
Didn't you
that's
have a
not.
guy that said something like that?
Oh, yes, that happened. That's why I'm like,
Was it during sex or was it something else? Like it was going down on you or something, and you tried to give him some direction. And he was
oh
like,
yeah, no, he was trying to go down on me, and I was trying to tell him, "Hey, could you do this instead?" And he was like, "Oh no, this works well." And I was like, "No, it fucking doesn't! Like, I'm not
"Really?"
gonna get off on this. I just fucking told you this is not enjoyable for me." He was like, "No, no, no, hold on, I got this. Like, hold
Yeah,
my beer, I got this." No, absolutely not. That was the last time you. God, man, that was such a waste too. There was so much built up sexual tension. That was such a fucking waste because he couldn't communicate. It's
right,
like
right.
all that other chemistry and attraction was there, and then when it actually came down to it, it was such a fucking deal breaker to me.
Well, because what actually makes someone a sex god is not the
A
fact that
big
you.
dick.
Well, yeah, it's not a big dick, and it's not that you think that you made people come in the past. It's actually listening to each partner you're with and listening to their body language and reacting to their body and how they respond and doing what makes them come.
Yep.
That's really the only rule to being a sex god is to actually listen to people, listen to whoever you're with.
Everyone gets into a different mental state when they're having sex, so what one person gets off thinking about and are doing with them is totally different for another person.
Right.
Even like with partners in the past, there would be things that I would say in bed that would get them closer to reaching an orgasm that with Master of Now, like I've trying to, because I haven't had sex with that many people and so many partners to pull from, like, what works, what doesn't work. So I tried doing those things in the past. I was like, oh, those don't work at all.
Right.
At all. So
Right.
yeah.
I think that like it's all a bunch of little things too. Like I've had girlfriends that where their nipples were uber sensitive, so like they would start to get off just from nipple play, and then other people who were like, oh, that doesn't do anything for me, but they have a hip bone that if you like nibble on their hip bone, they can't get enough of that, and so it really is just listening to what
Yeah.
someone actually likes. which also means that the other partner has to communicate honestly. Like, don't fake something. Don't, if something doesn't feel good or isn't doing it for you, it's okay to be like, oh, that's not really anything for me. Don't.
Because it just reinforces that if you're saying,
Exactly.
yes, this is good, but it's really not, they're going to keep going back to what you've already told them was good. And then
Right.
you're never going to get off. You're just
That-
literally setting yourself up for failure of more fake fucking orgasms, which you should never do.
100%. That is so
Ugh.
true. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, well, they always liked when I did this. And no, they actually didn't. They just faked it because they wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
And so women who fake it, you're just doing yourself, a disservice. You're much better off saying, oh, I'm not going to get there. And so that way, the guy you're with doesn't think he's amazing. He actually maybe will learn and get better. And he can. That's the thing is, like, we're designed as to learn more, to learn about each other and to learn more about what we like and what each person likes. And as you start to learn these things, you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be better. Now, now I know this is what works, this doesn't. Now I know to stay away from this area and focus on this area. Those are things that happen as we like get to know somebody.
Yeah. And it's crazy too when you're not having good sex. Like you said, if you're enjoying sex and the sex is good, you're going to want to get better at it and have more of that sex. But when the sex is not great, like for me in my first relationship, the sex wasn't great at all. I fucking dreaded having sex. I was like, is this what it's going to be like the rest of my life? Is this what sex is like? I fucking hate this. And we would literally be fucking, and all I could think about was hoping that he would come fast enough so this could be over. Like that was so bad. So,
Yeah.
and it just perpetuated. I would just fake it, tell him the wrong cues of what was getting me off, and then he would go back to that. Me, that was my first really sexual experience ever was with him. So I didn't know, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should make him work harder. But there were so many other intricate things there was a lot of judgment of, oh, well, I don't like going down on you, so I'm not going to do it. And there was a lot of criticism and things like that those led to the sex not being good. And then me thinking, well, is this all I'm ever going to get?
Right.
So,
Right. I mean, I had the same experience with my ex-wife. I mean, she was the first person I had sex with, and I remember we had fooled around a few times. I think she'd gone down on me once. I think I went down on her once, and when we finally like went to have sex, I had put the condom on. We had a little bit of foreplay, and sex lasted a minute and a half, and then I was like, "Oh, this is it." Like then I got rolled over, took the condom off, and
you didn't
she
do
was
anything else for her?
no, and I
She
don't,
didn't care about you. You always have said that she didn't really care about sex, really.
she really seemed very asexual. Like it was something where I don't know if, but we never communicated openly about sex. We had terrible communication when it came to sex. So I think that was a big part of it was we never really talked honestly about it. I think she probably had her own issues back. She probably needed therapy about it. I mean, I'm sure I did too, about sex in general. And it probably would have been good for us to really sit down and talk about things because I don't think she ever got off, and she never masturbated. She never like just didn't seem to have a need for it.
Did she ever initiate?
There were a few times that she initiated, and
But did
we
it
would.
feel forced or like she actually wanted it?
I feel like she wanted to like she was like, oh, she wanted like that intimacy, so we would fool around. We'd probably, you know, have foreplay for for 5-10 minutes or whatever, maybe a little bit more. And she would, I'd get on top or she'd get on top and would have sex, and that was it. And we got a sex toy when we were first in law school, like when we were first, we were both in 21, 22, and just wanted to like try things. So we had like a generic vibrator and I'd try to use that on her and stuff like that, and she would seem to be enjoying it, and then she would usually stop, and she would never, I feel like
Let
now in
herself get
retrospect,
there.
yeah, I feel it's like she stopped things from ever happening to that point, like
Huh.
really getting there. But I don't know. It was, it was just bad sex. It was a lot of bad sex, and to the point that I started to make a lot of excuses to avoid having sex.
Yep. That's
And
what you do.
I even faked it one time, and we were
How
having
did you
sex.
how did you fake it? You just
Yeah, basically, yeah, yeah. As we were having sex, and I and just pretended I came, pulled out, took the condom off, and put it in the trash can. Unless she checked the trash can, she had no idea that I didn't actually come.
Damn.
And yeah, because
Yeah.
it had been going on for a little while. Like we'd been having sex for a few minutes, and I was just kind of like bored. Like I wasn't enjoying it, and I just don't know what it was. The thing is, like, it's such a weird thing because physically she was very attractive. She was not, like there was nothing wrong on a. On a like a I don't know the way to describe it, but like on a physiological level, like it was just we didn't have any passion, and there was no passion, and it's just like I was like I'd rather just go jerk off and look at my own stuff than sit here and with her, and so it just turned into this terrible thing. And then I had good sex, and I just remember like the first time that I had good sex was when I had an affair, right after.
The story you always tell, everyone
Yeah,
knows. Yes, yes.
yeah. So when she came over for that day, and I had all my employees to stay home, so it was just she and I, and she walked in the door, and we didn't even have a chance to start talking about it. We just started making out, went to the guest room, and had sex, and it was fucking amazing. Like I went down on her, and she came, and and then we had sex, and it was just like the whole experience was incredible. And I was like afterwards, had that sheen of sweat on my chest and was like, holy shit, this is what I've been missing this entire time. And it was such a revelation because, we would watch, when I was married, I would watch these movies where people would like throw each other against the wall and like just fuck. And it was like, always like these
hot and passionate.
yeah. And I would laugh and be like, that's stupid. Like, that's not like sex is, nobody does that, And then I started doing that and I was like, holy shit, this is what I'm missing.
People
So,
do that. Yeah.
yeah. And what we had, more than just the passion of hiding our affair, was also we had a deep connection. Like we communicated. She would, when I was going down her, she's like, "Oh no, move there a little bit, do this," and everything. And she would tell me what she liked, and so that was a lot of it. And she would say, "Oh, do this. Oh, touch me here," And so she was very communicative, very open, and she would say what she did like and didn't like.
Constant feedback during.
Right. And no judgment. That was the other thing. We could talk about whatever we liked without worrying about someone being like, "Oh, that's weird," or that's whatever. Talk about any types of kinks and things like that too. And so that would it opened up this door of just passion that I don't think I even knew existed until I was fucking 30 years old.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I think people say a lot. They say that they're willing to try new things and they're open to getting a little kinkier, but when it actually comes down to it, they're not. A lot of people really aren't that honest about that. Be honest. Are you actually willing to try things differently? But people, from my experience, people really aren't. They say that they're open, and then they're more judgmental about it. And they're like, well, how about not? And then they seem in front of their partner that they're cool with it, but they're judgmental in the background. So that's a whole other relationship communication issue, but that just leads to more bad sex.
I think you just really have to get rid of this feeling of shame when it comes to sex. If it's something where something that really like you have a desire to do something or to have something be done to you, you should be able to just do that and ask about that. And you should have a partner who's willing to listen and say, okay, well, let's explore this a little bit. And that if we reach a hard limit for me, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to judge you for it.
Yeah. There was someone who actually reached out, I think on our Instagram at Dating Kinda Sucks. They messaged about feeling a little insecure about their just body insecurities and having sex with someone new for the first time. Right. And my whole thing was a lot of men don't notice. Like if I'm feeling a little insecure because I'm bloated because we're about to have sex after dinner, Master of None won't say anything. Like it's not
he's not going to notice.
He's more interested in having sex with me and making sure that we are about to enjoy the time together instead of, oh well, she looks a little bloated, so I'm gonna say something. Not that he would, but those things that we make up in our mind of getting insecure, and then we feel that also we get in our heads about, well, maybe he's staring too much at my hips or my thighs are too fat or whatever, and then we fucking just destroy the good sex that could have happened because we're so in our heads and so judgmental about our own bodies that we're not enjoying the experience.
That's definitely true. So I really feel like we have in order to have that, the good sex versus bad sex is to really, try to divest yourself of the insecurities. Try to realize that the person who's with you, if you're with a good partner, doesn't care about it, all the little things you think you care about.
There's going to be weird noises. There's going to be different
Oh yeah,
there's going to be different
yeah,
fluids. There's going to be a lot of things that happen. You're like, even sometimes when I have sex, like because we're both sweaty and our bodies are bumping up against one another, there's like that fart noise that your two bodies make, like from your chest. And it's like, it's funny. It's not embarrassing. It's just sex,
that's
you know?
right.
But if you're so about wanting to please, and I think I'm speaking from younger me, of wanting it to be the perfect sexual experience, whatever the fuck that is, because I wasn't having that. Of there can't be any weird sounds. I can't queef. I can't, like, your body makes different noises during sex.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's just it. But getting in your head about it is only going to ruin your overall experience with that person.
Yeah, that means it's so important just to like you said, just realize that this is what sex is, and sometimes that shit happens, and it's okay. Like it's part of it's funny. It's not, you shouldn't be embarrassed by it. And if you're with somebody who makes you feel embarrassed, then I think that's an issue.
Oh yeah, then you're in a toxic relationship or whatever situation you're in, that you should not be having sex with that person.
Yeah. Now, do you think that good sex should always, every time, include both parties having an orgasm?
So in the past, I thought that, but that's not really the case with Master of None and I. Like,
Right.
we'll have sex, and he'll come and I won't, and that's fine. And then an hour or so later, he'll get me off, and then it's not always both of us come every single time. Like even this past weekend, I I wasn't able to get him there, giving him my 30-minute gold star head. I wasn't able to get him there.
Double
And
fisted head.
my yes, double fisted gold star head experience. Sounds like a fucking theme park ride. Um,
Oh my gosh. That'd be
Could you
amazing.
imagine? Anyways,
Yeah.
so I wasn't able to get him there, but he went down on me, tied me up, used a toy. I fucking came twice, and we were like, and then we cuddled and we watched fucking Fargo and sat on my bed, and it was fine, and we were good.
And I think that's so important to remember, that it really is not a competition, and
And
it's
that's what
not.
I've always
Yeah,
thought it was a competition of, well, if I come, then he has to come, and if
right.
just vice versa, and it so gets in your head of, I have to constantly be doing whatever, and you're so focused on that and not actually enjoying it with that person, that it just leads to like terrible sex over time.
Absolutely, it does, and I think that you need to, just as long as you're not being selfish. I think and that goes for both parties. But
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that your partner's having fun, but you also want to realize that sometimes somebody's not going to have an orgasm, and that's okay too.
And don't take
And
offense to that. I think
right,
that's where we get in our heads of, oh well, I tried my best and I'm not able to get him there. Is it because of my thighs? Is it because of my body? Is it because of what I'm doing? Why is it always me? It's my fault. And then you get, less motivated to want to have sex, and then it just
right,
downward spirals from there.
yep, absolutely. I want to also talk more about this, like willingness to try new things. I think that is important. Like for example, like with the BDSM stuff, even though you'd always said you've kind of into that, like it took a willingness for you to trust and to be like, I will, like, let me try this with Master of None and see what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hadn't, it's not like you would have been like, oh, we can never, like that. You wouldn't have judged him like that. He wanted to try these things, and that you were doing. You would have just been like, it just doesn't really work for me. But it also means that you might be willing to do it if it works for him sometimes too. Like sometimes that's what kinks. You don't have to always have the exact same kinks. Like sometimes your kinks can be a little bit different, and you
Yeah.
do it for someone because you're like, oh, this is now it's, yeah, let's have fun with what you want to do, and that's okay as well.
Yeah. I think willingness to try is a big factor, because when you're in your head one, and then you're having the same P and V sex, for example, and you're just doing that once a week, let's just say at the minimum once a week, It's like,
Right.
okay, well, I already know how this is going to go down. I enjoy it, but it's whatever. I think a willingness to try something new creates more of a passion between you and your partner that you might not have had if you just continued on the same course of vanilla sex.
Yep. Yep. No, I agree. And you might learn some things about yourself too if you really let go and relax that you didn't even know because you were uptight about trying something or nervous about it.
True, and the stigma behind whatever you were trying, definitely.
Yes.
I think I have always said I was into BDSM and I liked light choking and I like some of these things, but actually trying it was a step out of my comfort zone. And I actually had to really, obviously, you don't just turn all of the faucet to a high
No,
level
no,
and
not at
you
all.
just fucking fire hydrant that water and just go for it. I mean, it was a slow build of, okay, now we'll try this with it. Now we'll try this. And you work your way up
Right.
to it. And then now, you have it's like having a variety pack in your sex life of, okay, well, what do we want to do tonight? I've got these toys, I've got these things we could do. We could go for Old Faithful over here, or we could try something new, or somewhere in between. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes me having sex, at least in my experience with Master of None, actually something enjoyable, because it's not, sometimes it is the same sex, time after time, but then you throw in these little nuances that make it exciting and make you feel that spark again with your partner. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that I think there's a lot of people out there who have bad sex who just roll their eyes and put up with it because they're like, oh, this is as good as it gets.
No,
Or they like,
disagree.
well, I no, I know, but I'm saying that there's people out there who
Well,
like
yeah.
that's what they're living with right now, and they don't really understand that if you have a partner who actually is willing to listen to you and you can communicate with them and you feel safe communicating with them, then you are going to have much better sex life, and that better sex life is going to lead you to basically have a better life overall too.
hmm I think if you are looking to, and maybe this wasn't the whole point of the topic was to try this, but if you are looking to change up your sex life a little bit, I think it starts with, hey, how do you feel about watching a couple porn clips together? How do you feel about doing,
Right.
here's a different list of things that I would like to try. How do you feel about this on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you be open to? And just planting the seed and having that conversation. So then the next time you're in the moment, you kind of pause and you go, do you want to try it? Do you want to try that? Would you be open to it? Start just opening the doors to those conversations could lead to changes in your sex life. And if
Absolutely.
they come back with being judgmental, kind of laughing about, like, oh my God, you want to try that? You're not with
Yeah,
someone who respects you, or yeah, you're with the wrong
that would be an
person.
issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, yeah, if you're with somebody like that who kind of laughs at that, you'd have to wonder. I'm trying to remember who I was talking to on a dating app or something that said something about someone that she had been on some dates with, and then started saying some. She like, wow. Then they started saying some really gay shit or something like that, and I was like, ooh, that
Ugh.
seems really judgmental. What is considered that?
What
And it
does
was
that mean?
yeah, and it was stupid stuff that she just had these prejudgment. Like she was just being very judgmental and not someone that you'd want to actually you know
Well, that
be with
translates into
because of
your
that.
relationship with
Yeah.
that person too. If they're judgmental in the bedroom, how the fuck do you think they're gonna
Oh yeah.
not be judgmental outside of the bedroom? I'm sorry, but those two things correlate so heavily, it's not even funny.
Absolutely.
If they
Absolutely.
can't listen, yeah, and I think that is what's so important, is being able to, and we preach it every fucking episode, of being able to communicate, especially in the bedroom, helps you feel more vulnerable about other things outside of the bedroom and feel more comfortable to go to that person and go, hey, I'm having a problem with this, not related to sex, instead of being worried and scared and all of these things. So the two coexist.
They do. They very much do. And I think that that's our biggest takeaway from this is that if your sex life is lacking, then you need to start maybe finding someone you can communicate with and be honest about, and that's the very first step. That open communication, that transforms bad sex into good sex.
hmm And if you're thinking right now, is this the best I'm ever gonna get? Is this, or just having what both of you and I have experienced of, like, it's whatever, fine.
Right.
I challenge you to have a conversation with your partner about how you're going to improve, or just open up and be a little bit more vulnerable of, hey, I'd like to try this, or I feel like our sex life is kind of falling flat in these areas. Let's work on improving it together. And
Yeah.
that response from your partner is going to change the outlook of how the rest of the relationship will go, of ending or getting significantly better, and just starting that point.
Absolutely. And if you have any tips for things that have improved your sex life, we'd love to hear from them. I would love to hear from you and hear about them as well. We'd love for you to maybe email them to us at datingkindofsuckspodcast@gmail.com. And what's spiced up your sex life that maybe is some trick.
Bondage? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. You can also share with us through our Instagram. We each have our own private Instagram, or you can find us at Dating Kinda Sucks.
You can watch this whole episode right now on YouTube.
True.
And you can subscribe to our channel as well. It's youtube.com/datingkindasucks. We post Adam posts just the raw video.
The raw
there's
footage.
no editing involved here. So the stupid shit we do on camera, you see it all. Yay.
Yep. Oh yeah, everything we talk about, I'm just gonna splice it together, the two halves. That's all we do. And of course, you can always ask advice. You can get input and share your stories in our safe space we have on Facebook. That is a private Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/DKS podcast.
And sometimes we'll actually take what you guys say in our group and turn it into a topic. So you just never know. It's always a fun group in there. If you are listening on iTunes, feel free to give us a 5-star rating and review if you're already listening right now. Or if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow along and subscribe to our podcast on there so you won't miss an episode. We try to keep this as consistent as we possibly can through this whole pandemic. So those are 2 things we would love for you to do for us.
That's exactly right. And then finally, if you are enjoying what you're listening to, you just want to support us financially, because we put a lot of work into maintaining the group and just everything we do, to be honest. You could do that at Patreon, and that's patreon.com/DKS podcast. And for $5 a month, you can just become one of our sponsors. And every now and then we put extra content on there. We haven't in a while, just because of the pandemic. It's just been, we've been struggling just to survive and have enough content for the podcast right now. But things will change. And you can also, of course, don't forget, we do have our sticker pack still available. We still have some left. It's our 4-pack with our garbage human being. Our brunch is not a personality trait. What's the other one?
Gym selfies are not a personality trait, and then our Dating Kinda Sucks logo as a sticker as well.
Yeah, 4-sticker pack that's available at our on our shop on our website at datingkindasucks.com/shop, or actually you can buy it through Instagram or our Facebook page as well. There's a shop everywhere you can purchase it, and we are sending those out too. So that might make a fun little gift for somebody if somebody who might appreciate, like somebody who's a garbage human being like us.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we get no luck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are 2 of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.